Ring Kings Boxing, we in this thing. I'm Big Q, chiming in on this latest episode of Ring Kings Boxing World. Much love to the boxing community. Give me a like in the D. Hit me up with a like in the comment section, man. Hit the like on this video. Also, please feel free to subscribe and share the video with other diehard boxing family members across the boxing world. This one right here, fam, is we talked about this, but now this is something that's come to fruition after Canelo had some pushback after his attempt to land his next fight with a fighter, and it wasn't a good look, and it was very obvious at times. We talked about this type of technique because a lot of the top boxers, not all of them, but some of them do what we call ducking, and a lot of this we'll cover this today, and we'll get some insight as well. So Canelo inks his PBC deal to fight Charlo in September. This is from ESPN's Mike Coppinger. This happened a couple of days ago, and this is promising because it gets us set up with a very interesting fight. Now, like I said, whoever graphs Canelo's fights, if it's him and his fight team, they do a real strategic job of picking opponents, man. The idea is for them to keep sitting on top and sucking up all the revenue, the money, and everything else, and keep the belts as long as they possibly can. They know eventually, at some point, somebody will topple Canelo Alvarez because Father Time wins all the time. Eventually, Father Time will take you down. So this is how some of these fighters sit on top of that thing. So anyway, let's cover the fight. And I'm saying this. I'm not saying that in a negative light. I think Canelo Alvarez does do real strategic scheduling of his fights. He knows how to pick his opponents. He's a very smart guy. But can I tell you? And that the idea is like, okay, Q, but that's kind of weak for a guy to only want to fight a couple of fighters every now and again, and then get you one big fight. That's how the business is boxing is ran, man. They've been doing this shit for years, man. They're the Canelo and fighters use what people call ducking mechanisms. What they do is they'll pick another fight style, a person that they can fight that is a easier fight. Now, most of these fights are hard, but they'll pick an easier fight in between fights. Tyson Fury does that a lot. When he doesn't fight any top ranking fighters, he'll go and fight some guy outside of the top 10, or he'll pick a guy in the top 15 or six, a 22nd fighter. And that's what he does. Not saying that that takes away from him or anything. He's still a really excellent fighter. But at the end of the day, most of, I ain't gonna say all, but majority of these people, they use the ducking mechanisms. We're gonna cover that more. But anyway, Alvarez 59-2 with 39 kills. He struck a fight deal with PBC, with the other two fights expected to take place on Cinco de Mayo weekend and Mexican Independence Day. Of course, that's his fighting. That's his days. He loves to fight. He's a proud Mexican man. In 2024, now the Mexican fighter's bout against Charlo, who's a WBC middleweight title holder, is expected to be on Showtime PPV. The network declined comment, and Alvarez announced on Instagram deal done for September along with the PBC logo, but it didn't name an opponent and specify that the deal was for multiple fights. Right now, the deal is a coup for PBC, which brings the sport's top star into the fold, away from rival promoter Eddie Hearn, which is Matchroom Boxing promoted. Alvarez passed three fights, including his most recent outing, the Mexico homecoming with the win over John Ryder in May. The other two bouts with Matchroom and the Zone took place last year. A defeat in May to Bivol at 175, which is his only loss since the bout with Floyd back in 2013, and a victory over Triple G in September, which was a snooze fest. Prior to that, Canelo scored an 11-round TKO of Caleb Plant, PBC, Showtime PPV bout in November 2021. Last month, Alvarez, who's number 5 on the Forbes high-paid athlete list, is estimated earnings of $110 million in 22. The 4-division champion defeated Ryder before 50,000 people, and he has retained his 4 168-pound titles and is ranked number 5 pound for pound by ESPN. Now, Charlo, 32-0 with 22 knockouts, is an elite fighter, was in a running with Canelo last May when Alvarez picked Bivol. However, Charlo hasn't competed since June of 2021. It's been almost 2 years. Actually, it's been 2 years. It's 2 years since Charlo has even fought. Now, he scored a unanimous decision win over Montiel. And the WBC president Mauricio Suleiman said last month that Charlo's inactivity is due to mental health. Charlo is a former 154-pound title holder who has never competed above 160. His twin brother Jermall Charlo is undisputed junior middleweight champion. Both Charlos advised by El Heyman of PBC. Jermall, who fights out of Houston, now expected to earn a career high payday. Now, Alvarez was also offered a fight against cruiserweight champion Badu Jack in Saudi Arabia, but the weight was an issue. Jack tweeted that he was willing to come down to 190 for the 200-pound title fight, but that is Alvarez didn't want to fight above 180 pounds. So he got Canelo got a lot of flack on him trying to go fight Badu, and that was bad, man. That was a bad look. And then he kind of outed him on social media. Now that we know this could potentially be a fight that's on with Charlo, how do you guys think that ends out? Let me know. Canelo Alvarez expected for September, signing with PBC. How do you guys think that ferrets out? That would be interesting. Is Charlo ready for this fight? That's the thing. And remember when we talked about the inactivity, about Charlo, he hasn't fought in 2 years. So when I seen that, I was like, man, that's classic Canelo Alvarez. That's Alvarez right there, looking at it and saying, man, listen, I'll fight that guy. I couldn't get this other guy over here in Saudi Arabia. I'll fight this guy. This guy hasn't been in a ring in 2 years. And I know Charlo's very good. Charlo's is one of the twins and several other fighters, some of my favorite fighters that's out there right now. But this is a very smart move for Canelo Alvarez. Matchmaking, saying, hey, this guy's not been active in the ring. He's been out of the ring for 2 years. And I could set up a fight in September and fight a man that hadn't fought for 2 years. And it'll be considered a top-notch opponent. And I beat this guy by knocking him out or beating him up badly and beating him in the ring or whatever. And I'm able to do that. Then that will kind of quiet down a lot of that. Plus I get paid, so what do you guys think about this? Is Jermall Charlo ready for Canelo Alvarez? Because if anything, a lot of people say Canelo likes to duck. He is very strategic in picking fights, man. And this is another example of it. Even though Canelo even though Charlo is a good fighter, he hasn't fought in 2 years. So if you're Canelo Alvarez and you got passed over by Badu Jack, that fight fell apart because of the weight issues. They couldn't come together on the catch weight. If you go moving forward into it, you have 2 people you can look at fighting. It'll either be an inactive Jermall Charlo, who hadn't fought in 2 years, or David Benavidez, who's standing up there calling you out. Which way you think you're going to go? And say what you want about Benavidez. He's been fighting consistently. So which one would you want to fight if you're Canelo Alvarez? And Canelo says, I'll take Charlo. But do you really think Canelo takes Charlo if he was active over the last 2 years and he was fighting? What I'm saying is Canelo Alvarez can fight with the best of them, but he's not a dummy. And he's exhibited these type of cases throughout his boxing career, especially after the Floyd fight. And since he's obtained these titles and he's been a unified champion, he strategically definitely picks the fights. He really does pick the fights because the objective is from a fighter like that. And a lot of people don't believe in that, but his objective is to take fights of lesser risk. Every fight has a risk, but he wants to have a fight with less risk and higher reward. If he could, it's always that dynamic of working back and forth. Is this worth me losing my belts because I wanted to fight this fighter, and this fighter is a younger than I am, and he doesn't fit me stylistically speaking. They study film on all these guys before they fight him, and they said, like, this guy will be a guy that he beat. I knew Canelo Alvarez would smash John Ryder. I know Ryder's tough, but that don't mean nothing. I knew Canelo Alvarez would beat him. Like I knew he would beat several of the other fighters that he's fought. Bivol was something different. A lot of people were surprised by Bivol, and I'm pretty sure Canelo thought he was gonna handle that, but he didn't lose. It still was a risk reward thing with Canelo Alvarez, but he's still a unified champion. So for him to try to get all of the belts here, this will be an intriguing matchup between Canelo Alvarez and Jermall Charlo. So what do you guys think? Put it in the comment section below. How you feel about this fight? I think it's a good fight. A lot of people want to see Canelo and Benavidez. That would have been a sensational fight. But at the end of the day, to finally get Canelo Alvarez and Charlo together, a lot of people didn't think this was going to happen. Triple G was around there, and he was trying to get, and he got the fight with Triple G. He knew he would beat Triple G. Come on, man. The Triple G trilogy was, come on, especially the last two fights. And Triple G was basically just trying to get money, and he was milling about, fighting people just so he can get a last payday. And he just kind of scooted on out the way and surrendered whatever he had. So he's getting on out of the way. We've been saying that. We've seen that because it's very transparent. But Canelo Alvarez, man, I don't know if I'm gonna call him a ducker, but I can tell you he's very strategic in who he's picking these fights. He wouldn't fight Benavidez, but he'll fight an inactive Jermall Charlo. That's very interesting. So I know Charlo's been out of the game, hadn't fought in 2 fucking years, man. That's a long time. I'm surprised he still has his belt. A lot of people still upset about the fact that he was allowed to keep his belt. But Canelo lining up with Charlo, that's going to be an intriguing situation. Y'all put y'all thoughts in the comment section, though. Let me know how y'all feel about this. It's Big Q repping Ring Kings Boxing World, man. Listen, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I'll holler at y'all on the next one. Peace.